Hey guys, so today is a weird day for me, but I said let me just put my thoughts, all of my thoughts to paper right now because that's just the least I can do. Today is one of those days where I'm feeling like there's literally nothing we can do. All these ideas that we have that the world will get better or that it will favor us, they are just fallacies and we've been pretending along for way too long. Ever since I can remember, my earliest memories, we've always been saying world peace, world peace, world peace. But day by day, we're getting into exponential world terror, world terror, world terror. And at the point where, not necessarily that you accept complacency or wickedness or atrocity, but you just realize that the power has actually passed you. That this is no longer the past where they were a bit smaller in population and technology and protection hadn't advanced to what it is now. Once those phenomena dawn on you properly and metastasize within you, and you just feel restlessly helpless. I can imagine that for some people in my situation, the temptation to resent their parents would be so strong. Which one is this one now? Personally, me, I don't resent mine, or at least I try not to, because I know that they did what they felt they needed to do to make life better than themselves. I'll leave my notifications on, sorry. Let me use the tape recorder in case maybe I get a call. The temptation even for me to resent my parents is there because it's like, why? Why did you do this? But then again, they took a chance, Giving birth to a child is a game of probability, and they didn't know that the probability of their child being radically opposed to the notion of life in this current state would be higher than, the probability of their child being a quote-unquote normal person. I have a friend that pisses me the fuck off, I won't lie. Like, on the one hand, I appreciate... Okay, these notifications need to go off. On the one hand, I appreciate his realism, right? But on the other hand, this guy just pisses me off. Like, he acts like everything is... He believes in the meritocracy. Let me just summarize it like that. And is genuinely unbothered by all these political issues, even the ones that end up affecting him. So I don't know if you've seen, there's a trending reel. There's always a trending reel anyway. But one of the trending reels now is there's this video of these guys jumping off of cliffs into water, serene environments, summer vacation vibes and all of that. And the caption is AI this, Epstein that, Palestine this. Just take a breath, go outside and forget all about it. All these privilege, exactly, I think that's the word I'm looking for. Even if he's coming from a place of privilege, which he isn't, right? And he's a privileged person, yes, but his arguments aren't necessarily from the place of privilege. They're just from, what can he do? Why should he stress his brain over things that he doesn't have direct control over? And on the one hand, right, truly, you're just depleting your brain cells over what you can't control. But on the other hand, if we all bury our heads in the sand now, then it just metastasizes to the point where we can't now even afford to bury our heads in the sand, because the sand would have been bombed off or turned to wastelands or something like that. Guys, I read page to page, cover to cover, read, listened to, studied both pro and anti perspectives. This brouhaha over the Israel-Palestine issue. Let me just put it like that, because people will not say, oh, it's a genocide, it's not a genocide. Whatever. Let me not use the word that will cause debate. Issue. At least we can say it's an issue, right? I just swelled up with rage. Like, I always wanted to assume that there wasn't a bigger picture that I was seeing, but only for me to even see from the pro supporters of this mayhem that yes, it's from a bad place actually, yes. Oh my God, like, it is fatiguing being alive, obviously within my nation, the one that people say is my immediate first point of concern, without them realizing that things that happen in other places can affect you. But anyway, there was a bomb blast just which day. And it was in a place where, growing up, there used to be a lot of bomb blasts. But with time, it kind of subsided. But it happened again. And it's just fatiguing. It's just fatiguing. We're not even talking about, price of things. We only look up when it comes to price of things. We can't ever look down. We're now looking at the Iran thing causing hikes in petrol. Man, it's frustrating. I can't even lie. It's frustrating, all this situation, life in this environment. And the thing is, people want to say, "Oh, it's Trump. It's this person. It's this politician." It is both all of them and none of them, because these issues precede their grandfathers. Our ancestors allowed things that to metastasize that were supposed to be nipped in the bud. So we're just dealing with the ripple effects of what they probably didn't even expect. They probably thought all those stupid nations they were building would be self-contained. I don't think a lot of the religions that end up becoming supported by billions and millions were supposed to reach that multitude. I don't think so. Because even from their perspective, right, as the people who would start up these religions, when something like that is over popular, it's hard to maintain its purity. And that's what somebody who can bomb a place. That's what somebody will demean somebody's child over. In some ways, in fact, not even some ways, I stand by currently, right? I may see reason for different perspectives, but I stand by what I said at one point by saying that indoctrination ought not to be legal for children. Whatever we now decide is the age of majority, 18 or 30, or for me, 30 is age of majority. Me, 30. That is when you can now introduce them to things like, religion, certain things that do not dwell well with realistic society, right? You can't start telling them, that if they don't wash their hands a certain way, that they'll go to hell. Because that thing does something to children who eventually grow up to become adults with those same beliefs. But the thing is, because they're surrounded by other adults with those same beliefs, they see it as normal. And then when they now encounter the quote-unquote real world, where people don't even believe anything of the sort, and now look at the people that don't believe anything of the sort, thinking that they are the abnormal ones. Then they get angry and start causing wars, telling themselves that they have rights to people's land in the name of what they don't know. We are just in a ripple effect society. We're at the bottom of the chain. We're at not even the bottom, because if this war carries long enough, which most likely it will, right? Many people have said, the world is ending, Nah, it will. 100 years after this recording, it will exist. Maybe not in this form, but it will shall exist. So as the world continues, it's probably only getting worse. And that's pessimistic, of course, but following the trends, what else is there to decipher? That they will clear a whole land and now oh my goodness. Like, are we even normal? And truly, this guy, right? This my friend. I'm here pouring spit on this my recorder over something that I can't change, but at the same time, it's so frustrating, and I don't want any part in it anymore. Me personally, if I am afforded the luxury of being selfish with my desires. I don't want any part in this rubbish anymore, in any form. I'm born from the day you have a semblance of, oh, okay, what this adulting thing is meant to look like. There's just one back-to-back payment. There's one stupid thing. Some stupid person is out there causing some stupid scenario that now affects your life, but people around you are too stupid to realize. Some people around you are too stupid to not only not realize that it affects them, but to go ahead and now support the thing that affects them. Oh my, damn. What? At least if your own is you are too stupid to not realize that it affects you. I know that is misinformation that's your issue, but you will go. I can't even blame you, because the people that taught you, they are not even alive. The person that taught your great-grandmother's great-grandmother is not even alive. Some people don't even ask themselves, this rubbish that I'm believing, who told me? Who told me that I needed to hold this book, cram this word, so that my life will move forward? Okay, as I've crammed it, did my life even go forward? Did you ask yourself that question? How many people do you know? Almighty richest man in the world up until 3 minutes ago was an atheist. Some of you do not ask yourselves questions. Some of you do not. Just sit down with your ike on one chair. Just find a chair. Sit down. Just chair. Think. So, I'm making this recording on, what's today's date? Hold on. This is AM for real. This is 9:58 AM GMT +1, and the date is March 20th. My current sentiments in life are that, man, I don't want to say it's worth living. There are some people, if you have money, right, and you have something that continues to give you money, life is worth living. But if you do not have money, or you're holding out the hope that, oh, some politician will make things better for you, you need to reevaluate your addiction to life. You really need to reevaluate your addiction to life. If you have money, please, life is for you. Live it well. Spend your money as you wish. If you like, go and buy bomb and bomb in places, you. Because at the end of the day, the world is your... Is it the world is your cinema or something? The world is my oyster. No, that's another serene lyric. The world is your stage, really. You're a spectator. You can make it work as you wish. Just fund something, fund propaganda, just for the fun of it. It doesn't even need to be something you believe in. Something has really baffled the hell out of me, man. So you mean to tell me that there's a coalition of people that just sat down and were like, yes, we believe these stories that our parents told us so much so that we'll kill people over them? How possessed do you have to be? How messed up do you have to be? And not for this gigantism space that I found. I would have thought that these people are doing these things intentionally, but gigantism is bringing to light studies that these people have, is it shorter amygdala or something like that that is responsible for certain brain functions. That is why they are not able to think the way quote and unquote progressives think. And some very foolish people think that, oh, progressives is a side, that everything progressives are for is just anti-religion, anti-whatever. Being progressive just means that you're able to see through the bullshit of religious propaganda, right-wing propaganda. That you're able to shine a light through the bullshit, the thick layer of bullshit that all those propagandas provide you. Fuck. even if the person has a shorter amygdala, are we now saying that because of somebody's brain structure that they are fundamentally impaired? If so, are we now meant to start doing brain scans? Let's know who is who. Let's know who we should even listen to. But the thing is, even these studies now, and let's say there's a way to prove that, okay, this person isn't competent to lead or make rational decisions on behalf of people, they'll find a way. These people always find a way. All these, oh, you shouldn't lead, they will always find a way. Kill them, oh, they will find a way. Arrest them, they will find a way. Education at this point itself, it feels like, oh, you're doing what some people call wasting spit. You're just there talking to the wind. They always find a way, all these people that are easily susceptible to right-wing ideology. The part of the worst are the ones that are like, oh, both sides. Oh, if I stone your face with eraser. If I stone your face with eraser, which one is both sides? Some people want people to live. The other part want people to die for superficial reasons. They're saying both sides weary. Man, today is just one of those days. It's funny how when I started making these recordings, I was even scripting them, writing that so that my words will look polished. But now I don't even send again, I beg. I don't send. I do not send. The only reason why I'm even still speaking English is because this might, not that I even wanted to travel far per se, but it might touch the ears of people who might not really get what I am saying, and I don't want my message to be lost in translation. Before they were gonna say I said hippopotamus, they will say that I said elephant, or that I said ant, safe, not even elephant. I'll leave it here, Jerry. I don't have enough footage to pair with this recording. Will I even thank you for listening? Now you waste your life now. I'm joking, Sha. Thank you for listening. At least even if not 3 views I get, that won't concern me. Oh, I really need to learn how to stay on track with one language. But yeah, basically what I'm saying is actually thank you for listening. Like if you want to, this is not a commercial. I have a commercial channel. Even that one self is an education channel. All right, that one, yeah, the likes would help. The possibility of earning extra income in this destitute economy would help, but my purpose with that channel is education. This one is pour out whatever is on my mind, then maybe I'll listen to it later, because I can't store these things locally. If you two take it down, that one are their business, so that one are their business. I beg, at least I shall got it out. It's therapeutic for me because I can't afford therapy now. You don't ask me whether I don't chop. Which one can be therapy on top? If you can afford therapy, if you can afford good things, leave it, I beg. Just continue. Although, please, if you make a chance, not even if you have the chance, make a chance to do good. Not if you have to, make a chance to do good. What is the good that we do? Find it. Remember when you were poor. From there, now think of the good you can do. If you are never poor, well, can't ask somebody that's poor, how will I do good? They will tell you. All right, let me end it, Jerry, before the thing will just be getting fat for no reason. I make another one when I'm tired. There's a lot of heat now, so I just want to lie down, let breeze be touching my body, let the sweat on my body just dry first. There's light though, but after that last one that I struggled to pay NEPA bill, that's the power bill. I beg, I'm really minding how I'm using things, but the thing is, if I miss it, if I don't, it will still finish. So I'm just here, Jerry. I'm just here. I'm so tired. All right, later. Let me end this thing now. Make una dey pray for Michael B. Jordan. Make una dey pray. Everybody. right? That means this guy will be wishing him well, be hoping him to have good things in his life, be hoping for him to have good things in his life. Because I was just doing some retrospective analysis and thought maybe I should share that sometimes winning an Oscar can either make you or mar you. You saw this lady now, Lupita Nyong'o, just last year was saying, Lupita, after she won the Oscar, they were asking her, oh, Lupita, we have a movie for you. You're still a slave, but this time you're on a boat. Can you imagine? Can you imagine? Now, I know that Michael B. Jordan and Ryan Coogler have a sort of duo thing going on between them. But it can be prone to missteps a bit. So just hope for the best for two of them, especially this Michael B. Jordan, that his work is the one that's subject to other people's creative interpretation. I haven't seen him in outside Ryan Coogler related productions. It's not that he hasn't been acting outside Ryan Coogler work, but me, I haven't seen him of late. Last I saw him outside, or even basically the only time I've seen him outside Ryan Coogler work is The Wire. You know, and after his character died, which is a spoiler for those of you around my age, I never bothered to watch the show. After his character died, we didn't see him again until that I can even remember. It was Creed. Creed was what I used to know Michael B. Jordan. Then, you know, he now played the villain in Black Panther, whose name I unfortunately cannot remember. Sad as it is. But yeah, so another thing that I observed just this morning is only 2 black actors have won more than 1 Oscar. Among guys, the window is open, so you might hear noises. Sorry about that. Among black women who act, actresses, none have won more than 1 Oscar for acting or related. Cynthia Erivo has been nominated multiple times for Best Actress. Then I can't remember the other names I saw there. I think, is she the only one that's been nominated multiple times for Best Actress? 1 second. Hold on, what's the note here? They say her note here is first black British actress to be nominated, second black woman to receive multiple Oscar nominations in the same year, third person nominated for an acting award and a music award. Okay, so this is like people like Barbara Streisand that... I don't think Barbara Streisand was nominated for acting the year of... What's the name of that famous Star is Born? I don't think she was nominated for... Who can I think of that was nominated for acting and music? Lady Gaga. She was nominated Best Actress and she now won an Oscar for In the Shallow. And first Nigerian. Is she Nigerian? I know she is obviously of Nigerian descent, but now that's a whole conversation for another day. I guess she's a Nigerian citizen by birth because her parents are... I don't even know if it's her parents direct or her grandparents that are the migrants to Britain, but I know that she was born and raised in the UK. I'm looking for who's been nominated. The first person here nominated for more than 1 Oscar. Whoopi Goldberg, rather. I think, hold on, wait, let me go down. Yes, just Cynthia Erivo, first black British actress to receive, and second black actress to receive nomination, 5th black actress to receive 2 acting nominations. Wait, who was the first to receive 2 nominations for Best Actress? 1 second. Oh, Viola Davis. With the Ma Rainey's Black Bottom, she was the first to get 2 nominations for Best Actress. And she lost, but that performance in Ma Rainey's Black Bottom was tight, but they ended up giving it to Frances McDormand for Nomadland. And I don't know, the thing about that Frances McDormand, even if we're saying, oh yes, the performance was hot, right? Sometimes I wonder if it needed to come at the expense of the debut Oscar for Viola Davis, debut leading Oscar for Viola Davis, and then a break in the stretch between 2002 and what was almost 20 years at that point. Okay. A 3rd win for Best Actress, and then we would even go on to be a 4th for what was her name, Frances McDormand, because she would also win a Best Picture. She co-produced the film with Chloe Zhao. So I wonder if, especially considering that she would win later that same night, Gongo, if they, Viola Davis. Ultimately, I know that they vote based on what is their performance that appeals the most to them. Yes, I'm not sure people are, considering narrative, statistics, and all of that. But so, on the one hand, it's definitely a fair win. On the other hand, you only get so many trips around the sun, don't you? So, Best Actress, Paka to be nominated. More than 2. Only 2 women. And these Oscars have been going on for almost 100 years. Then Best Actor. Denzel has received multiple nominations. I don't know of other actors who may have. Maybe Sidney Poitier would have received multiple nominations too. But the thing that really made me pick up my phone, as I said, is we really need to pray for Michael B. Jordan's Oscar winner. Michael B. Jordan's, please. There's a title now. We need to pray for Oscar winner Michael B. Jordan's post-Oscar career, that it is only the sky that will be his limit moving forward. We shouldn't get hypertensive over it and now jinx him, but really wish that man well, because he's such, beyond his skill, right, which is undeniable. He's an inspiration for not just black men, but men like me that are in Africa, and men around the world and people around the world, because he's not just being a male role model, he's being a humanitarian role model as well. Do you know he spoke up about the dilemma in Palestine? He made an Instagram post, that would tie me to this. Wow. Which is impressive. And then there's a clip making the rounds now on social media about him, really putting it into perspective, the pro-choice argument. It's particularly refreshing, not just when they say, women's rights, just to say the chant, right? It's one thing to say the chant, but to explain your stance in such a clever way. Oh my God. And the thing is, usually we have the bots that we creep up into the comments and be like, hey, you mean murder? It's murder. You about murder? You're a Baal worshipper. You're a devil worshipper. The thing now is, the way he explained it, even the detractors that were trying to derail, they struggled to make the comments. I love that recording, and I love that it came from a non-sentimental. It just was like, this is this. Forget, man. Forget. forget. So let's just pray he remains a good person. Oh, I beg. Oh, I mean, just this year alone, how many example, our childhood favorite celebrity, they have gone to MAGA. Hell, Jesus, God, oh, help them, help them. And, we can make the argument and say, oh, that somebody is a MAGA does not mean that they are a bad person. That's true, but the things that led you to joining a MAGA, I don't think it's good things, I don't think it's good things that would have made somebody to join MAGA. You can say MAGA people, they are good people at heart. That one is not even up for debate. But, check yourself. We feel you might have lost the plot a bit. We're not even saying embrace quote and unquote wokeism wholeheartedly, right? You can be maybe somebody like is it Dwayne Johnson that called himself a centrist in 2020 or something like that. Maintain that above surface level neutrality. Another thing that I was thinking of recently is, recently Michelle Yeoh was asked a political question. I can't even remember the question but she was not like that she's not informed about it, number one, and that she's there to promote the film, which, I saw it, and on the one hand, I acknowledge that she says she don't know. On the other hand, it's also good for her to have known. But outside that, I think I'm leaning towards the time and place argument these days. I'm leaning towards it. Normally, the popular stance among online quote and unquote woke is anywhere, anytime that you ask about politics, give us a full dissertation on your stance and whatnot. But then again, I'm leaning towards the time and place argument. Not that you will shut it out outright or deflect or say mba or or like deny it outright or pretend it doesn't exist or it doesn't matter. That, in fact, it doesn't matter, people. Those ones, no. Time and place. Just say time and place if you don't have like a quick answer. Because the thing with things like, what's going on in Palestine is not, there isn't a satisfactory 1 sentence, 2 sentence, 3 sentence. And this is the kind of thing that you're meant to have an interview solely on, as in you're meant to have a 1 hour interview on. That is the only subject you're talking about, is that thing, not it will be one of the questions in an interview. Edward Norton too, there's a video that is trending of him acknowledging the crisis in Gaza, but they asked it to him as a sub-question of a broader interview. The issue in Gaza is not a sub-question. It is a subject of discussion. It is a minimum 1 hour discussion. Wahala, wahala. Okay, it is a minimum 1 hour discussion, right? It warrants at minimum an hour's worth of discussion. That's what I'm trying to say. So yeah, I'm really leaning to the time and place argument, but don't dismiss outright. Just say, I have my opinions on that, but I would like to get back to you later on that, something like that. Give one of those diplomatic, but not over diplomatic response. So, just something above surface level that shows that, yes, you give a damn, but this is not the time and place. You understand? And I also used to not really believe, but see reason in the argument that, this is the most watched. It's not even the most watched. Let's not even stop this. Let's stop deceiving ourselves. The numbers have been coming out that the viewership is declining. So, yeah. But this is still somehow one of the most watched events in the world. And I'm not saying, people watch. I'm just saying that the numbers have been declining, which is tragic. okay, don't mistake this for me saying it's God forbid. It's just tragic that maybe because of people who have moved to streaming and social media that they don't have the strength to plug into the shows. But that's why I feel like that moving to YouTube, as they say that they will do, while I feel like they will make a lot from something like that. And if they keep the live stream, it's something that people can now go back and they'll be earning residual revenue from it. Something like the Oscars is not something that they do reruns of now. It's a one and done broadcast. So I'm not saying that's declining numbers to say that they're don't mistake me for that kind of thing, I beg. I'm just saying that, tragically the numbers have declined. So back to my main points. If people have been saying that, this is one of the most watched ceremonies in the world, why not talk about it? And I think to something like that, so I might be comparing apples to oranges here, but I think, something like, let's say, if, what will I call is another most watched thing? Let's say a celebrity's funeral, for example. Is that the moment that, let's say, one of the guest speakers at the funeral should now say, "Free Palestine"? You understand? Like, I am comparing apples to oranges if we think about it properly, but still, right? You are at the Oscars because your film is the most liked. Now, if your film speaks to something remotely related to the issue, then please, in fact, recommendation, give a few pointers to it. Like when Leonardo DiCaprio won his Oscar, right? Academy Award winner Leonardo DiCaprio won his Oscar. He spoke about climate change because, hold on, one second. I just need to check something. So he spoke about climate change because it was relevant to his film. The Revenant, they had issues. Jesus. They had issues looking for snow, like a snowy area, to shoot the film. So, him speaking about climate change, people want to dogpile and say, is they for woke? Like that Ricky Gervais, I don't even know why at any point in history we clap for him for saying that crap. I get where he was coming from, but the fact that his stance still hasn't changed so many years later is like, it's enough. It's enough. We got the joke at the time, right? Because his argument was that they are so detached from reality, but not everybody at the Oscars is a celebrity, are they? You understand? Yes, winning an Oscar, being nominated can make you a celebrity of some sort. But still, not everyone is a celebrity, and not all celebrities are rich. He might know a few himself that aren't rich. So, I don't agree with that sentiment. Like, fine, you want to say that they are privileged and all of that. That, all the more for them to speak up about the issues that people with smaller platforms can't afford to speak about in a way that will reach multiple ears. So, time and place, on set, maybe it has something to do with the film. So, let's say you won a film for, all you are doing in the film was packing dustbin for, oh my God, I really need to learn how to say things in a way that general English speakers will understand. So, let's say all you are doing in the film was you are a garbage disposal worker. You understand? Unless, I don't know, man. I really don't know. Like, even in the garbage disposal workers role, right, you can speak to something like, the economy that will, undervalue you for your work or something like that. That's what you can speak to, which is still can be seen as a political statement. Like Anora, when she won, she spoke about sex worker community. I don't know if Adrian Brody one spoke about something. Then what was his name? Kieran Culkin won, and I think it was basically just propositioning the wife to give birth, which was intense. But I think this is between them. They understand their dynamic. And what was her name? Zoe Saldana. I think she just shouted at the fact that she's like the first Dominican to win an Oscar or something like that. So, yeah, like, speak to the number one. What's paramount is when you feel like you're winning an Oscar, speak to the central message, if any, of your film, all right? Then address that one first. Then also, you now be like, okay, by extension, give brief acknowledgement of the other issues that you are aware of in the world, and just comment on them bit by bit. You understand? Yeah, that's just what I wanted to say about that. So I support the time and place argument, because even putting them on the spotlight and then trying to get them to give one word answer, it might not even water down their perspectives and motives and all of that, and now misconstrue their intention. But at the same time, it's also good that they can bring issues to the forefront. And for the people that are still hell-bent on, okay, I see a lot of comments like Taylor Swift hasn't spoken about Palestine. Number one, you can't even blame any celebrity, right? Because we want to say, oh, Beyonce and Taylor Swift are rich. No matter what they say, they always have money. Who told you? Who told you? It's not that they are being bankrolled directly by the US government. But the thing is, as we've seen, when people can be silenced, or when people want to be stifled, or when people can be stifled, they will be stifled in ways that we won't even realize. It's now oftentimes when we now look back like, oh, this is what happened to this person, that their career just stagnated like this. I don't know what goes on in their lives. They have their reasons. They are obviously not oblivious to what's going on, right? They have phones, they have aids, they have news, right? Although it's even possible they might not know. It's possible. You never really can tell, because they are very, very visibly busy people. So I don't think it's for you to now rain insult on them that, oh, they don't want to speak on this, they don't want to quote unquote use their platform. It's not fair to now rain insult on them and bombard them if their silence on the issue bothers you. As a consumer, you are at liberty not to support their work. You understand? And the thing about them, they make what's the word in economics for goods? Substitute goods. So if pop music is your thing, and Taylor Swift kind of pop music, there are a lot of artists who do that kind of pop music that she does. You understand? Part of some of the insults some unfair people throw at her is that she makes generic music, which is unfair. That's not even true. She's a very good songwriter. For Beyonce, on the other hand, well, I don't know how many artists have gone from, his fleshy R&B career to a pop career to a dance music album to a country music album. So trying to find a substitute for a Beyonce might be a bit difficult, but you may not need a direct substitute, all right? You just maybe need, maybe when you're in the mood for country, you do like who can I even recommend in country? You just find somebody. Maybe, I think Casey Musgraves is still a safe option, right? So You can do like a Kissimo's Grace when you're feeling country. You can do Who Do I Know in dance. I don't know, of late, dance has been something people enter once and pop out. But Who Do I Know has a reputation for not just that, but house music. Who do I even know? Maybe like a Kitranada. You can do like a Kitranada, but a woman who's done, a woman who sings, a vocalist for house music, I really do not know. So you have to do some digging. There'll be people in that space. Nia Archives, okay, that one was more electronic, wasn't it? Rochelle Jordan, very nice album from last year. So, and then obviously R&B, we have a lot of R&B singers. SZA, Summer Walker, we have them. Kehlani, who just won 2 Grammys. So, I be 3, not 2. Yeah, so, yeah. Our moral compasses on the specifics of these issues like these, right, are different, because this isn't like, our moral compasses are different on things like racism, Jim Crow, slavery, sexism, homophobia, transphobia. No, that one we ought to say like, okay, the baseline, right? In short, is human beings should exist, period. But when it now comes to, okay, how do we engage with people who have not commented? Because the crime is to comment against you can promote the shunning of people who comment against humanitarian effort, but people who have not yet commented on, right, instead of assuming their stance on their behalf, you can just on your own say, Ngwanu, I'm not engaging with you until I hear. You can play it safe, you understand? Because it's particularly daunting now, especially considering that a lot of people's favorite artists are switching up out of nowhere. A lot of Nicki fans, I would eventually come to find out, is that they didn't expect that from her. They were with her even throughout, the whole Megan Thee Stallion thing in January 2024. They were even excusing some of her other, COVID testicles kind of thing, all the other mini controversies. But the full-on declaration of, yes, this is me, a lot of them didn't expect that. So, yeah, I can imagine why people want to say, okay, we're playing it safe. And it's not just her. A lot of other celebrities, artists, popular artists have, done a bait and switch on their fans. So a lot of people, I imagine, they just say, okay, let me not assume that you are on my side. Until you say you are on my side, that's when I will now come and support you again. Now, if you want to ask me this same question, number one, I don't know. I like Abokata a lot, sir. I'm not the kind of person that follows artists, right? That I will chase your discography no matter what you're bringing. I listen to, at the end of the year, especially, towards the end of the year especially, I just listen to what came out that year. So it's now, as I'm listening, and I'm like, oh, okay, this guy that brought out an album 2 years ago brought out this same, that's nice. I don't follow artistry directly like that. I personally don't follow, especially like the celebrity aspects of it, because I know, unless maybe it's something like, commenting against humanitarian, if I heard that one, that will obviously impact how I listen to your work, because of all things for me to do with my time is it now to put potential profit in the pockets of somebody that might end up using that money to go and comment against humanitarian efforts. So 1 second. So yeah, I am a fan of a lot of Taylor Swift songs. I have a lot of Taylor Swift songs that I like, and same with Beyonce. Like I said, Kabakaza was one of my favorite albums of 2024. I get why some people will hate it, but for me, that's among the Beyonce albums I've heard, that's my favorite one so far. I'm excited to see what she will do. They are saying the next genre is rock, right? So I'm really excited what she will do with that. But I suspect that she will do a surprise and do jazz. Although, if the general theme of the albums is, okay, white people have colonized this thing, let's remind you that this has black origin. If that is the general purpose of this trilogy she's doing, then I don't think jazz is up for debate, because jazz still has I won't say predominantly, but a prominent black artist base. All right. So, yeah, let's see what the next album will hold. Most likely it will be rock, because jazz, right? Not that I'm saying that she does things for the charts, but then again, she's an artist that needs to survive. In short, I'm not even going to put that motive. No, she's at a point where, from her back catalog alone, she can survive well off of that. Just from even tracks off of like her first 5 albums is enough for her to survive. So everything she's doing now is for artistry's sake. And I appreciate an artist. Why I appreciate her particularly, especially, is because she does the kind of thing and an artist with the kind of money and access and influence she has, I won't say necessarily should do, but it is good that they do. You understand? On just Kawekata alone, she covered quite outright the Beatles, covered in her own way Dolly Parton, sampled on one song Beach Boys and Nancy Sinatra. That's enough to bankrupt some indie artists. So that she was able to do all of that and still bring out something of quality out at the end of it all is interesting and inspiring as to what artists, especially artists with abundance of resources, can and should do, right? Invest your resources that you have been blessed with back into your arts. And of course, she equally has humanitarian projects of her own. It's not as if she's even politically abstinent, or she's a political bastard, as some people try and say. She came out in flesh and blood to support Kamala Harris. You understand? At least, even if you have your qualms with Kamala Harris, is it not better than to vote for the Republican Party? Somebody will hear that one and be like, you don't come. But at least, voting Kamala Harris, she, Cardi B, Megan Thee Stallion, all of them, they came out and said, no, this is what you people will do, or should do. So, yeah, just my 2 cents. Pray for Michael B. Jordan's post-Oscar career. Pray for Oscar winner Michael B. Jordan. His 4 names is going to be hard for me to get used to it, but I will get used to it by force. Pray for Oscar winner. Okay, his 5 name, Bakari. Pray for Oscar winner Michael B. Jordan's post-Oscar career. Pray for it, that it will be good. And it will not be, he won Oscar one time, or we don't know what happened. Right? God forbid that that's his case. Then time and place. I'm leaning towards the time and place argument without, doing complete otondo. Just a polite pointer at time and place. But if you can afford to answer, please, by all means, answer. Then also, let us not assume intent for our favorite celebrities, artists, actors, and all of that. Let us not just assume that they are complicit. Some of them, you understand, are understandably afraid. Even the Edward Norton video, you could see practically his voice was shaking, and that's somebody that plays very daring roles. So you can't blame them. You can't blame them, but at least the ones you can blame are the ones that are, knowingly speaking against. I beg, those ones, leave those ones. Let them be on their own. We don't need to call their names to platform. Anybody that's actively with using their influence to this recording today, sure. But anybody that's actively using their influence, their platform to support things that will roll back rights or block humanitarian effort, please, I beg, withdraw your support. That one is even instruction from me. Withdraw your support unless they come and later and say, "Oh, I was myopic, I didn't understand," and until that day, withdraw your support. Withdraw your support, I beg. It's not good. The same way that they publicly came out to oppose is the same way they should come out and publicly apologize. And I'll call this, I like making these recordings now. It's funny how before now, when I started this recording, I was like, "Oh, what if they don't hear my English?" Now, please use auto-generated subtitles, or please, right? Make sure YouTube is translating it to English for you, or whatever language you speak. That's why I'm actively trying to make sure that I stick with one language and not jump between slang in Nigerian slang and all of that. So that's why I'm actively trying my best to speak English throughout, so that even if you're watching in a foreign language, you can follow auto-generated subtitles. And when I have strength, me too, I actually like to do the subtitles myself. But man, that process is tedious. It is tedious. That process is no joke. I've done it for my area. But I've done it for 3 videos now. And by the third one, I was like, I have to stop this rubbish. So if for any reason this channel takes off and I'm able to get money from it, maybe I'll now use the money to employ a subtitle person. Because subtitles are important. Not all of us have the ability to hear, in case you have forgotten. That's how somebody opened their mouths. Or what is Coda? Well, sure, it was that voter that came out, submitted to Weather Deadline magazine that he only misses Lawrence of Arabia. So he calls some ancient movies. I'm like, hell, Jesus Christ. At least, even if you wanted to make your argument of Oscar movies are going to shit, which they are not, even if, at least call the newer movies you saw that were now understand that your plight is okay. Films that you are voting didn't make the cut will now even feel sympathy for you. But that you can bash Anora and Coda and say that Lawrence of Arabia Lawrence of Arabia was made how many years ago, my Oga? You're just exposing yourself. And if it's that the academy knows who that person is, I don't know, but are you sure is not grounds for them to say we won't get this person out of our organization? Because he's automatically confessing that, hey, I don't care about new movies. Is that who you want still in your organization? And I know I wanted to end this recording, but I beg, it's my data that will suffer it at the end of the day, because I'm back on metered data now. But oh well. Let's quickly talk about Anora. Anora was a surprise that they would go for that kind of film, and usually, right, there's a motive to their choices. Like some people infer motive to their choices. Like, okay, they say this year now one battle after another one because they spoke to political things, right? Then what's it called? Anora won because it was a celebration of the independent film. So there's variation in why they choose Best Picture. We also need to remember that Best Picture is a ranked choice, so it's possible that when everybody ranks it, it's possible that it's not the film that comes second across board that now ends up winning, something like that. It's interesting how they vote, and people like to pretend like, oh, it doesn't matter. I like when we celebrate art in big ways, be it as big as the Oscars, be it as small as community awards, our indie blogs, our indie festivals, and all of that. Let's celebrate art and not punch down on art. Let's not demean art, as even as tempting as it can be sometimes. When you hear something that it doesn't sit well with you, or you watch a movie that's like, what did I just watch? Let's celebrate art, irrespective. It's now when we don't have anything good to say, we try to zip it unless we're asked. That's the only time when I say, okay, you people ask me, I didn't like it, I'll just tell you, But that unprovoked, you just come and say, like many people, Sinners was a rubbish movie. It was a rip-off. Rip-off win original screenplay. Hello, Joko, Jerry. Joko, go and sit down. So let's not tear down. Let us only uplift. With the world, we don't need more tearing down. Except it's a bad person. Tear it down. Until they apologize. It's not after they apologize, you say, oh yeah, I forgive you. So let's not tear down art, I beg, Jerry. Let's celebrate. So that an Oscar voter can tear down the art. Sad. That is sad now. It's sad. I beg, it's 42 minutes recording now. I don't know if I'll chop this up. There isn't really anything to chop up. I'm also worried that the non-linear way, the jaga way that I make these recordings is not helping my case at all. But I beg, this is all but an archive primarily for me. Then whoever wants to engage with this archive later on, whatever, do your best. Well, don't take anything that I've said. Maybe I mistakenly said something as a bad thing in the future or even in the present and I did not know. I beg, I didn't mean it. Please, that's anything, please. I think I should be closing all my future recordings with this. Please, if I say anything that both in the present, in the future, in the past is misinterpreted to be, against humanitarian effort, against, more general societal conscience, morals, all of that, I beg, I did not mean it. Okay? I did not mean it. All right, let me end the recording here. Thank you for listening, and let me carry on with my day, Jerry. Okay, so let's talk about Ozoro Wahala. One thing that I'm happy about is that some of the people who once were unashamed defenders of culture irrespective of the form it comes are now the ones that are making the point that I have made severally and several others before me have made severally, with a point that is of particular value as not just a Nigerian but a part of the populace of people that have gone through things like colonization and similar phenomena. The point that I'm very happy people are making now is culture is human made. I tell you for a fact, growing up in southern Nigeria, South Nigeria to be precise, you will hear the most absurd things that even break through the wall of your naivety as a child being explained to you as a cultural event. This idea of women needing to stay inside on certain days or at certain times is nothing new. I grew up around it, although where I grew up was considered a township, even though it didn't necessarily meet the standards. But still, even within the townships, we still had it. Although with time, that culture, I'm using the word, fizzled out. Maybe because it was a quote-unquote township, but the culture remained prominent within the rural areas. So I'm happy, I am overjoyed to see that the same people that I have seen saying, oh, we don't do this here. You understand? Maybe they want to talk about giving women certain rights, or they want to legalize gay marriage or something like that. The same people that, will boldly tell you, we don't do this here. This is not our culture. And the same people telling you, culture is man-made. So now, right? It now begs the question, okay, so what then is the litmus test for what remains in your culture? This is the bigger question that needs to be asked. When we are ready, right, we'll sit back and review these things we call culture, customary law, tradition. And when we review, we need not just relying on the subjective opinions of those bestowed with the ability to amend these cultures formally. But we need a general litmus test as a nation, as a state, Nigeria. And not just Nigeria, across West Africa, because even Ghana is doing one ET right now. So we need a litmus test, a test that transcends our perspective, our biases, our innate desires to say, okay, this one is good, this one is not. We need something that tells us this is the caliber of thing that is good, this is the caliber of thing that we should throw away. I'm happy, right, that we can see assault and call it assault. Now, growing up, we used to call it tapping current. Growing up, we would casually hear teachers saying that they tapped a girl's but the story, when you now remember it now that you've grown, especially now that you've grown up in social media age, you're like, this teacher casually confessed to child molestation. This teacher casually confessed to assault. This teacher casually confessed to something sinister. But the culture of dismissing this as tapping current, as just an expression, as boys will be boys, protected them at the time and still protects, because even in secondary schools now, I wouldn't be surprised to find out that there are not only male students or male teachers, but even at the parental teacher conference, whatever, there are people within those circles that are engaging in some form of sleight of hand behavior that they are passing across as, oh, this is a man's call to nature. It's not your call to nature to have sex with anyone. All right, let me not even go there. I want to go there, but I'm not going there specifically because I don't want to age rate this recording, but If I need to, maybe I'll need to on a different platform, but not here. So I'm happy that it has finally, right, dawned on some people who are once violent defenders of culture that culture is actually man-made and not given to us by God or whatever your parents told you. My hope is that this thing will unlock the gates for other lies to be dispelled. The idea that we need to kill twins, let's start with the one that we've actually rolled back, right? The idea we needed to kill twins, reportedly, because we don't actually know if that happened, is barbaric, but at some point, we just saw it as one of those things. The idea that reportedly some villages needed a certain amount of virgin women to be buried along a king was rolled back with time. But at the time where we used to do those things, we used to tell ourselves that the culture was given to us by a supreme being or beings. And the thing is, people want to protect things like religion and certain types of culture, thinking that, it's just a difference, you just need to let them be. Like when, for example, a country bans gay marriage, they'll be like, their country, their rules, right? It's just their country, their rules, right? Forgetting that this their country, their rules thing carries victims along with it. There are people that their crime is being born a certain way, being born female, not even woman per se, but being born female, being born or developing, I don't know when sexual orientation manifests, but being at some point in your life what we describe today as gay, right? And failing, right? Committing the crime of expressing that gayness, homosexuality. I don't know if I'm even using the correct word. I don't know those words in and out, but you get what I'm trying to say. The pushback, the defense of their country, their rules, their culture, their rules, it needs to fall down globally. We should have, across the human spectrum, on a global level, an impenetrable and indestructible, a completely airtight system of vetting our cultural values. You can't tell me that because your culture says if women come out within a certain time of day during a certain period that they are fair game. Yet, this thing carried on. It's just now that we're getting videos. But it's been happening. Speaks also to a bit to the issue of banditry. Now, I know banditry is not our culture, but the culture the adjustment culture around banditry. Don't go out outside this time. Don't go for NYSC. NYSC is the thing Nigerians do where the government will post you to a random state in the country and then you have to be there for a year, or sometimes you do an orientation paramilitary camp thing there in the States that you're supposed to do for 3 weeks. Then you can have the opportunity of being posted back to either your origin state or some other state, right? So don't go for NYSC. Why are people saying don't go for NYSC? Because usually, right, a lot of these states, actually states without airports at all, are very few. But some of the states, right, do not have airports. So you'd now be forced to use land travel. And in the process of land travel, you can encounter bandits. So that's why a lot of people say do not do NYSC. The NYSC stands for National Youth Service Corps. So don't go for NYSC. We've adjustment culture. There's something of, I've been seeing of late trending, adjustment culture, adjustment suffering or something like that. We're just adjusting around things. Now, when it comes to the banditry one, I can't blame us because even it appears like even the government itself doesn't even know what to do with the banditry situation. We're just here telling ourselves stories. Oh, it's the government that's funding them. Oh, it's billionaires that are funding them. Oh, it's foreign entities that are funding them. No one knows. No one knows. Abba's story. His abductors were given 10 million naira by a family that I don't think, okay, let's not make sweeping statements about families we do not know anything about, but from the vibe that we got from the story of Abba, 10 million naira wasn't easy to come by. For any family in Nigeria, rich, poor, 10 million naira isn't something you fling out. All right? The bandits were giving 10 million naira, which was their initial offer to let go of this family's son. Only for them to take the 10 million and I'll say, okay, now in addition, we need 3 bikes, 3 motorcycles. So the culture around banditry, trying to prevent things like banditry that we have no control over per se. That one I can say, fine, we're just being security conscious. But the culture around the culture we control is not necessary. Telling a human being that, oh, stay in your house. Not because of bandits. Or if they say stay in your house because of bandits, fine. Nobody has control over bandits, right? Sadly. But stay in your house. Why? The same culture that we belong to says that you must stay in your house in order for you not to get assaulted. Chinyere, one of the people that I'm following, said that Nigeria has gone from what are you wearing to why did you go outside? Oh God. And it sounds funny, right? The way she said it, but really, no. We've gone from what were you wearing, right? Which was always daft, right? Because as far as I'm concerned, you can, in fact, naked, not even half naked, right? That does not mean you are fair game. We've gone from the what are you wearing, and the what are you wearing is we'll judge ladies that wear skirts above the knee. It's not mini skirts, so I'm saying long skirts, but they just rest just above the knee. That is, you are the Jezebel of all Jezebels. You are the prostitute of all prostitutes. That is the what are you wearing that they're asking you. I hear in some communities, hijabi communities, they say, why are you wearing your hijab? I've heard that. Although I can't speak to that directly because I'm not in a hijabi community or a community where people wear hijab. So I'm only getting this from hearsay and what people who are in hijabi communities have told me. They'll ask you, what time are you wearing? So we've gone from that one to, why did you go outside? Don't you know that is there? We told you to stay inside because of this thing that we are doing. I'm just happy now that people are waking up that culture is human-made. And it can be modified to whatever the hell we want it to be, provided it is good. With time, I hope these same people their uburu will open. Think, this thing that they've told you, oh, these people is not our... Think, everything, it doesn't even have to be gay self, although think about gay people, because, but think, these people that they've told you, our culture, okay, let's call the more practical ones now. Our culture, we don't used to talk to these people from this village. think, isn't that person a human being like you? Check, the two of you even speak the same language, but they've told you that for whatever reason they don't talk to people from that village, they don't marry people from that village. A lot of 8 couples have been shut down because of superficial crap like that. I have seen it quite a few times myself. So you think, now, at least if this social media, while it lasts, because the way information spreads these days, I don't know how long we have left with this thing, but while it lasts, let it be that we've gained something meaningful from it. If the culture doesn't serve all of us in a good way, all of us, based off of our mutable characteristics, it doesn't serve us positively, we should scrap it. We should. Does this culture victimize people for just being? Now, if a culture says, oh, people who kill should be treated as, we can have a discussion, if not praise such culture, right? But that people that are born, let's say people that are born fair, that are treated this, we're talking, isn't this literally what happened all over the West? And everywhere did slavery. Okay, but why was your own so special? Why did you eat your own slave? Everywhere did slavery. Why did you eat your slave? Why did you pass laws saying that your slave is only peasant level work that they can do based on their race, not even the meritocracy you claim and to hold sacrosanct? Our culture should constantly be under review, constantly. Any small crack in it, take it out. So I just wanted to hop onto this recording and say that I'm happy that people are, I don't want to use the word waking up, because the implication there is that they were sleeping before, and that is a bit insulting. But I'm happy people are coming to the realization that culture truly is human-made. All right? The things, the superficial things that they told you in your church, in your house, in your community, in your traditional area, in your village, that they've said, oh, this thing is bad. Why? You don't know. Ask yourself, is that thing really bad, or they just told me it's bad? I'll end this here. Thank you for listening to this recording. I want to also add, like I've added in some of my previous recordings, that everything that I say is based off of my own current understanding of the world, and that if anything comes out in the future that looks myopic in hindsight, please, that was not the intention. So I thank you for listening to this recording. My heart obviously goes out to people that have been victims in this and in similar situations, not just this, but because this is the one in the moment, right? In the limelight now, obviously. Special attention be given to them and to the bomb blast victims in Borno from a few days ago. Thank you for listening to this recording.